to Campus Tutorial TV. If you could remember, in our last class, we stopped at sources of public opinion, and today, God's willing, we shall make progress with components of public opinion. When we talk about component of public opinion, I know the first thing that will come to your mind, you'll be thinking about the various types that make up public opinion. But here, the component of public opinion is more like a stage or level at which public opinion is formed, or better still, it is more of a phase that public opinion wears to arrive at certain level. So the first one here will be direction. The second one is intensity, and the last one is stability. Taking the first one, which is direction. Direction is the first component of public opinion, which has to do with a method of accessing public opinion to determine whether the issue at stake is gathering momentum or even losing momentum. Because some issues have the capacity of attracting the attention of people and even winning public support. But because of the media or the eloquent people in the society criticizing such issues, before you know it, that issue at stake will eventually begin to fade. That the people supporting that event or phenomenon will become so minute that nobody wants to be associated with it for fear of being culturally and socially isolated. A case in point is the issue of EndSARS protests. Initially, the protest has gained acceptance because everybody is supporting it. But suddenly, the protest took another dimension or direction, that the people supporting it now drew back, not wanting to be associated with it for fear of the wrath of the law, because they are scared that government might get hold of them and then punish them. So they don't want to be associated with it based on the fact that it has taken a completely different direction. So that is it with direction. So as a writer or reporter, you have to pay close attention to where the direction of the people tilted and then write your story, so that you cannot write something that will be against the opinion of the generality of the population. The second one in the line is intensity. Intensity as the second component of public opinion is a method of accessing public opinion to see how the people accepted it. But basically, here, importance is usually created around trivial issues that are comparatively less pressing in the society. But pressure will be mounted on them so much that they become the talk of the town. Don't forget that this issue have nothing to do with maybe national security or national development. It has to do with nothing. Just trivial issue, unimportant issues. But importance will be created around them. For example, Nasu El Rifai's son's pre-wedding picture. Those pictures were blown out of proportion. For no reason, people began to talk about the pictures on social media like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. That it becomes the talk of the town. You see, these are normal scenarios. They are just picture, but people start to talk about them that it gets blown out of proportion. You see here, importance have been created around issue that is comparatively less important, because that is not what the society needs. The society now is battling on how to get 3 square meals a day, on how to get basic social amenities, not this ordinary picture. There are issues that need public attention, not this. So this is it with regard to intensity. Then the final one is stability. Stability is the final stage at which public opinion is formed. Some issues of public concern can generate public support, and no matter the criticisms and tactics used by other interest groups to bring down such issue from the public domain, it simply won't work. That issue will still maintain popularity among the general population. For example, Nigerians remain adamant when they openly rejected the removal of fuel subsidy, despite the call by other interest groups to remove it. Nigerians still remain strongly against the policy. That is it for components of public opinion, and now we will look at the measurement of public opinion, that is the parameter with which we can use to measure public opinion. One of the parameters with which we use to measure public opinion is opinion poll, and then election, public response, the mass media, and then referendum. Opinion poll. Opinion poll involves asking questions through interviews and questionnaire from a selected sample of people, and their views are used to represent that of the entire population. And then the second one, which is election, is a method of measuring public opinion which serves as an avenue through which public opinion is measured to determine the popularity or otherwise of government or political party. For example, in 2015, we are able to see this. Since they say public opinion is the voice of the people, so people have spoken, for they were able to vote into office different candidates of their choice. The mass media, the views freely expressed on the media represent the views of the general public. And then referendum. Referendum as a means of measuring public opinion has to do with referring political questions or policies to the electorate for approval or disapproval. This takes us back to 2011 when fuel subsidy was about to be removed. The issue was dished out to the public, And when the general public outrightly rejected it, and it stands. So that is it for referendum. And then public response. Public response has to do with the attitudes of the citizens towards certain policies. So their attitudes to some extent determine the degree of acceptance or otherwise of that policy. Sometimes their attitude towards certain policy will determine their support for it. That is it. Alright, having seen ways of measuring public opinion, we will now look at those things that pose threats to public opinion. In other words, impediment to public opinion. One of the impediments to public opinion is low literacy level. The second one is dictatorship in government that suppress public opinion. Political manipulation that thwart reality, and ethno-religious heterogeneity that cause diversity. You take a look at the first one, which is low literacy level. In a country where 70% of the citizens do not have access to education, then that country is bound to show little interest in what is happening in the country. And country where there is a high number of literate citizens, you will see that the citizens are active when it comes to government policy processes, programs, and what have you. Then dictatorship in government that suppress public opinion. Whenever the government is so strict that it doesn't allow people to protest, to bring certain policies into public domain and discuss it, public opinion is bound to be killed automatically, because government doesn't encourage exchange of ideas, or it doesn't encourage citizens to discuss on the policies at stake. Then ethno-religious heterogeneity that cause diversity. You see, in a country where we have a plural society, people with different culture, different religion, then it is very unlikely for the citizen to be on the same page based on certain religious or cultural provisions. We have seen different scenarios in this country where maybe certain policy will be put on the public domain, and this this ethnic group or culture will say that it is against their tradition, culture, or religion, where different citizens will be expressing their concern that such policies may pose threat to their religion or their culture. So it makes it very difficult for government to do something. Then finally, political manipulation that thwart reality. You see, whenever government notice that the opinion of the generality of the public is not in their favor, they will go extra mile to ensure that it kills that crusade. For example, the NSAS protests. We have all seen what happened. That scenario is a typical case where political manipulation thwart reality, but because we give it different coloration based on what we see and what we hear. Alright, this brings us to the end of this segment. God's willing, in the next episode, we will round up the topic public opinion. Thank you. Keep watching Campus Tutorial TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.